Did you pay to spy on the Trump campaign? When are you going to comment on the spying allegations, Hillary? Did you pay for to have him spied on?
Hillary Clinton basically remaining silent about a bombshell court filing from special counsel John Durham. It alleges the Clinton campaign paid a tech company to infiltrate computer servers at Trump Tower, and even later when President Trump was actually in the White House. Joining us now is former House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes. It's the White House piece that really surprised me, Devin.
Yeah, you know, Bill and Dana, thanks for having me on this morning. This is not the first spying, right? So everybody's now paying attention to this, except for the fake news media, which are actually quieter than crickets. So the people who actually promoted this for the last 5 years, now when this bombshell comes out that the White House was actually spied on directly, the President of the United States, while he was president, compromised some of the supposedly some of the most secure communications architecture in the world, they're quieter than crickets now. But let's not forget, I mean, this is, you know, through our investigation, what did we find? We found that they were using intelligence apparatus to unmask, basically reverse target people in the Trump transition and probably after that. They also ran so-called CHSs, confidential human sources. So these are people that were paid for with taxpayer dollars to infiltrate the campaign. And then let's not forget that they went and got a FISA on a Trump campaign member that likely, we never got to the bottom of this, likely could have been used to go and grab specific communications from numerous people within the then presidential candidate Trump's campaign in 2016. So look, I think the only thing that's interesting here is that the Russia hoaxers in the media, you can't find.
Mm-hmm. Sir, when we look back at the Mueller probe, and a lot of people even on the right said, isn't there more to it there? You know, why aren't people going to jail? And a lot of people got in trouble with the law for lying, and right now you got a case of that, you know, with Durham working through this. Andy McCarthy's headline says this, National Review. He says that old Mueller feeling, is the Durham probe going to produce all smoke and no fire? And if you look at his argument, do you think that's the same position we are in now as we were for 3 years with Mueller?
Totally different. So Mueller, that was an issue because President Trump was framed by his own government, okay? So the whole Mueller thing, I'm not sure Mueller even knew what the hell was going on. You may remember, you can probably bring up the clips, but when I asked Mueller directly when he was presenting to the United States Congress what he knew about Christopher Steele and the dossier, he didn't remember. So look, I don't know if he had cognitive issues at that time, but the whole Mueller investigation should be investigated. And I hope that Durham is looking at that because you had all kinds of Clinton campaign operatives and dirty cops who were in that Mueller probe. So totally different. What you have with Durham, and by the way, you went every single day with a leak. Let's not forget that. Leak to the fake news who were promoting this hoax. The Durham probe has been the opposite of that. With Durham, he's doing it by the book. There's been 0 leaks. So I think Durham has a lot of credibility moving forward here. The issue will be is that some of the laws that were broken weren't crimes. And that's really the problem. Like it should be if a FBI lawyer lies to a FISA court, you know, nobody ever thought that was, there's not really a law in the books for that. That should be like 20 years minimum sentence because we can't have dirty cops, people within these intelligence agencies playing politics and lying to a court. But however, you know, they got a slap on the wrist. So I think Durham's building a larger conspiracy case here, and hopefully he's going to be able to build enough evidence to bring all of these people to justice.
Devin, I'd love your thoughts on this as a former intelligence chair. President Trump said this to Fox News, that they have the declassification order and they should declassify absolutely, especially in light of what has just happened and what has just been revealed. Do you think declassification of all these materials is warranted? Would you want that to happen?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've pushed for this. President Trump ordered it, I think, about 3 or 4 times, as I remember, because we ran the investigation, into the Russia hoax in Congress. I think it would have been important when John Ratcliffe finally got to the Director of National Intelligence. He was able to. He couldn't even declassify it. He pushed it into the Durham investigation. You know, we're Congress. We have the highest level security clearance on the Intelligence Committee of anyone in the country. I think we should have known that there were contracts going out and people that would have had access to White House comms that were breached. Probably would have been something for Congress to actually know about. And I think Congress is going to have to spend a lot of time trying to fix this after Durham brings these indictments and people are prosecuted. There's going to be a lot of work to do, a lot of cleanup work that's going to have to be done.
We have a lot more questions. Hope you come back, okay?
Yeah,
Devin
thank
Nunes,
you.
Thank you. Live there in
Thank
Florida
you.
today.
Thank you. Sorry about your Bengals, Bill.
Oh, thank you. I will take all the pity I can muster. At least.
How long can it go on?
I don't know.
It's Wednesday.
I don't know.
I think maybe by Sunday we turn the page.
I think it depends on my broken heart.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the sympathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.